Hey guys, I am absolutely busting, but I thought I would quickly jump on and just tell you what I'm about to do. So I've never actually used an ovulation kit before. So this month I thought I'm actually going to try it because again, it's something I've never tried. Same with not drinking alcohol. I've never fully given it up because I was always like, well, plenty of people fall pregnant naturally and I don't want to, kind of do all this stuff and feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on it and getting stressed out by like doing all these things. So I've never given up alcohol fully. Sure, I tried to decrease it and all of that. But again, like I just love wine and I live in Margaret River, so it's really hard not to drink. I just love the taste of it. I really am missing it at the moment, but that's totally fine. I'm happy to not drink. It's more just the habit of the ritual, you know what I mean? That I'm used to having it, or at the end of a long day, you're like, or if it's cold, you have a red wine, like just the taste more than anything is something that I really enjoyed, and it was almost like a treat or like a chocolate, or I actually just loved the taste. So it wasn't about getting drunk or anything. But yeah, I haven't actually, like I said, I haven't used an ovulation kit before. I am not one of those people on this journey who has, 6 days DPO, started doing pregnancy tests. Like I've just never done it. Like I honestly, to be honest, I have never really researched, and this is probably like, again, it could be another reason that I haven't fallen pregnant, but it's also not, because plenty of people don't try to fall pregnant and they fall pregnant. So I feel like I've literally done everything that I possibly could have to not be stressed out about falling pregnant, or like I didn't do all the research. I didn't try and find out everything I possibly could to make it the perfect, situation, or have everything in place that was like what people say to do to fall pregnant. Like I just kind of tried to let it happen, right? And obviously that didn't work. The other thing is, I never tracked like every month as to, if Adam was home or if he wasn't, and all the months that we actually did try. So I don't actually know how many months we have tried for a baby, or tried to conceive. So I don't actually have the data, and I say it's been a 2-year process because it has. Like I literally came off the Implanon in June 2019, so it's actually 2 years and 3 months. But I don't actually know how many months in that time, one, has Adam been home, or two, even if he is home, did we try? Because there were months that earlier this year, because once we moved here, we'd had such a stressful time that the falling pregnant thing was like, great if it happens, but it probably isn't the right time. We've got a lot going on, I'm super stressed, all of that stuff. So I would have still loved it to happen, and we would have made it work. Like plenty of people have babies when it's not the right time, or they're not perfectly set up, or whatever. Like you just make it happen, right? So I would have been happy for it to happen. It's just that, yeah, I guess in my head and everyone else's, we were all like, like it's probably not the right time right now anyway, because of being super stressed. But then when we got here, we settled in. I was like, right, like we're actually now in a good place where we can, sort of dig deeper into this. So we went to the doctor. He gave us blood tests referrals and semen analysis referrals back in December. Kenzo wants to go outside, so hang on. Absolutely freezing here today, so that's why I'm all rugged up. So yeah, I don't know if I spoke about this in my first video or not, but yeah, we pretty much felt like it was a good time to start investigating because it had been a year or so or whatever, and it hadn't happened. And look, again, I didn't know how many months we'd been together because I tried to not track. I tried to not try, you know, like I was just leaving the window open, seeing if it would happen, and it didn't. And now I'm like, fuck, if I just had all the data to be able to say exactly how many months we've actually tried, that'd be great, you know, like if we had that data. But and it does annoy me because, like I say, it's been 2 years and 3 months, but I know that it hasn't been 2 years and 3 months of trying. It's been probably 1 year or 12 months of trying, which is still a significant amount of time, right? So, and people fall pregnant without even trying. So for me, it's like 12 months is still a long time. But anyway, so now, you know, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, it's getting a bit longer now. And there were months, again, just going back a bit, there were months earlier this year that we didn't try, even when Adam was home, because I needed a break from it. Like, I'd had a few months in a row of not falling pregnant. Like, probably would have been, I swear to God, it was like 6 months in a row that Adam was home. And I don't know if that's exactly true, but it felt like just months and months and months. So that it wasn't happening. I saw the naturopath and she's like, just take a break. Like, don't try, focus on your health. And so I did that. So we did not try because I wanted to know that I was definitely not going to fall pregnant. I was definitely going to get my period. And when I got my period, it wasn't so devastating. So I wanted to know that, just to give myself a break and kind of a bit of relief. But I never felt super stressed about the whole process. And every time, like I said, we never got down into the nitty gritty of all the particulars and the perfect recipe to make a baby, right? Like, I just never did that. I was just like, oh, you know, I know I'm ovulating, like, you know, we'll just have sex like we normally do. Like, anyway, so when people say, oh, you know, don't get stressed, or don't be stressed, or don't stop trying and it'll happen, all that, like, you know, I've tried it all. But anyway, so then, where was I in the story? So there was months we didn't try. Anyway, now we're at the point where I'm like, right, I've tried all the stuff to not get stressed out. I haven't done all the research. I've left it up to fate. I've left it to just see what happens, kind of thing. And now I'm like, no, I need to do all the research and try all these things. So now I'm at that point. So no drinking. In my last video, I think I told you guys about the thyroid thing, which is the thyroglobulin antibodies, and it was high. So I'm supposed to not eat gluten for that. And then there's the caffeine thing, right? Like around like trying to conceive, not to drink caffeine because it can increase chances of miscarriage and affect conception. So there's giving up that. So alcohol, gluten, caffeine. Plus I have to like try these ovulation sticks. So again, never done that before. So I read up about it. I bought the box, read the pamphlet, and I'm literally just about, this is why I'm jumping on, I'm literally just about to go and pee in a cup so that I can test my ovulation. And I thought, why not bring you guys along? Obviously, I'm not going to show you me weeing, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to take you along the journey. And yeah, I thought this is just another part of the process and the journey. So here we are. I have been busting for ages, but I started doing something else, and then I was messaging people, and then I was like, oh, I need to do a video. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go and do the ovulation test right now. Basically, if you have like a 27-day cycle, then you should start ovulation testing on day 10. Today is day 10, people, and we're getting, and you know what, like, again, like it should be a bit stressful. Like, I've got to do all these things perfectly, and like we have to test ovulation and line everything up perfectly, and you know, I'm checking my temperature every morning, and I'm looking out for cervical mucus and for the egg white discharge, and like all of this stuff. I feel like I am the most prepared that I've ever been to make this happen. So I'm kind of like, oh, if I had known all this in the beginning, would it have taken this long? But that's who I am, right? I am not a research person. I am a let's see what happens person. I'm a logical person. I just I kind of go with my gut and just follow my gut and my heart. So eventually I got sick of that but because it wasn't working. So now I'm like doing all the research. Oh, the other thing that I'm doing, this is what I mean. Like, it should be stressful because I'm trying to do all of these things now. Like, the other thing I'm doing is decreasing my intensity at the gym. So I have been doing CrossFit pretty much the whole time that I've been trying, on and off. You know, there were months when we were moving and in quarantine and stuff that I wasn't training very much, and like when we moved in here, and there was probably like, you know, a 3-month period where I didn't train very much, and if I did, it wasn't very intense, or it was, you know. So I kind of always figured that I don't actually train that hard anyway, so why do I need to decrease my exercise? But again, I'm like, let's give it a go. So doctor has said to decrease intensity of my exercise. So I've been doing that. So at the gym, I have just been modifying the workouts, talking to the coaches, telling them that I've got to take it easy. Basically, I don't want to, you know, do anything intense, get my heart rate too high, get my body temp too high. So I'm just moving. I'm just doing some really good recovery type stuff, like bird dog, and just slow on the bike, and you know, and some shoulder, like just some stuff like that, glute bridges, you know, core stuff, kind of like if I was pregnant. So I'm kind of training as if I'm in the early stages of pregnancy, or I'm pregnant at any stage. And you know, you have to take it a bit easy, and there's like pelvic exercises and core exercises and just a little bit of weights, but nothing like too strenuous. Nothing that's going to cause too much stress or get my heart rate too high or get my body temp too high. The other thing that's really good, apparently, while you're trying to conceive is yoga and Pilates and stuff like that. And funnily enough, it's so funny. And like I was saying before, I keep getting sidetracked, but I'm doing all this stuff, right? Like, there are so many things that I'm doing and changing and trying this month that, yeah, it could feel stressful because I've got to do all that stuff. But I honestly don't feel stressed. I feel like the most informed or prepared I have been. And if anything, it makes me more excited because I'm like, oh wow, like I haven't done this before, I haven't done that. So, you know, potentially we could make a baby this month because like I'm trying all this different stuff, or, you know, I've got the perfect recipe. in the back of my mind, I know that that is not, it's not guaranteed. But I have to have hope. Like, that's all there is in life, right? Like, I mean, again, like the doctor said, I have to believe that I can fall pregnant. And I do believe that my body can fall pregnant. But I guess I try and have a backup plan or downplay stuff to make it not feel so disappointing when it doesn't happen. And I'd love to just not have a backup plan or not think those things, but I'm just too logical a person. Like, you know, that's how my brain is wired, and that's who I am, and that's perfectly fine too. So, yeah, I don't feel stressed. I'm quite excited, actually. I've never done ovulation testing before, so I'm about to go do that. And I'll let you guys know what the stick says. Okay, so I'm back. So my LH hasn't surged today, which is totally fine because it's only day 10 and Adam's not home. So yeah, I guess Adam gets home tonight, but really late. So I'm thinking, and like, this is the other thing too, is they say you shouldn't try every day, that you should try every other day. So I'm like, oh my God, how nitty gritty do we have to get with this planning? Like, it feels like it has to be so precise, which is just ridiculous because people don't go to this extent. Like, I know some people do, but anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm obviously sharing very real and raw here, like all the nitty gritty details, and yeah, anyway, I've just got my fingers crossed and my heart is feeling really hopeful. And also I have a it's a new moon yoga and meditation thing tonight, which I feel like this is divine timing, right? Like, that's what makes me so hopeful, is I feel like everything is lining up. Like, I now have all this information. You know, Adam's going to be exactly home when I'm ovulating. And I have this new moon thing tonight, and it goes for 3 hours. It's basically, I feel like it's a way that I can go into this next chapter of trying, and like go to this yoga and meditation thing and really just, you know, zen out and kind of put out my intentions and just feel, you know, like my goal should be a feeling. This is what I talked to my therapist about yesterday. She said that instead of the pregnancy being the goal, potentially I could change that to the feeling being the goal. So like the feeling of love and the feelings of like wholeness, the things that I feel like I will feel when I'm pregnant is what essentially it's like manifesting. So I feel like it's a really funny timing that the new moon yoga thing that I literally booked this months ago. Like in July, I wanted to go to one and I couldn't get in because it was booked out. So I asked her what the dates were. The one in September didn't suit me. The August one was already booked out, and then it was October. So I was like, right, the October one suits me. I like to do this kind of stuff when Adam isn't home as well, because I feel kind of bad like going out at night, leaving him, you know, when we don't have that much time together. Like we do, but we have more time together these days than we've had in almost our whole 10-year relationship. So anyway, so yeah, it's like perfect timing. This event is tonight. I can go in and just be zen and kind of really ooze all this feelings of love and wholeness and, worthiness, because that's another huge thing, is like where your mind goes with this whole process is you end up feeling like it's a self-worth thing, like I'm not good enough. And I do that in my whole life, not just the pregnancy part, but so I really just need to work on my self-worth, the feeling of just giving love and feeling love, and it's funny because I've been listening to this podcast, which I didn't choose. All this stuff is happening that it just feels like it's the right time, and I say that with doubt in my mind, like I'm such a logical person that when I say these things of like, it feels like it just is gonna happen. Like I really feel like everything's coming together, and I really do feel that. But then there's that part of me that's like, what if it doesn't happen and you're gonna be so disappointed? But anyway, yeah, that's what runs through my head. It's really hard to manage and not let those feelings come, because they just come. That's who I am. I'm a logical person. So this podcast, I was listening to Life Uncut, which I love, by the way. If you don't listen to Life Uncut, you are missing out. It is honestly hilarious. It picks me up when I'm feeling down. Like, it just is so funny. The girls are so funny, and they're so raw and real, and they're just hilarious and really, they're good at sort of talking about every aspect of life and emotion, and mostly it's a relationships and dating podcast, but I love it anyway. So I was listening to theirs, and then when it finished, the podcast app just brings up another one. And generally it's one I don't want to listen to, but this one started, and it's with Sarah Greenberg, and I've only listened to one of her other podcasts, and it was with Simon Sinek, which I love him. Like I used to follow him on Instagram, and I always loved what he put out. So I guess because I listened to one of hers recently, her latest one came up after Life Uncut, and it was an interview with, I'm going to say his name wrong, but it's like Mo Gaudat or something. He is a computer scientist, and he worked for Google X for a long time, and was like, the chief business officer of Google X. And basically he's written a book about AI, and how the book is called Crazy Smart, I think. And this podcast is basically talking about the book and AI and the threat in a way that AI poses, and how can we make AI more compassionate and more loving and all of that. So I just find that it's so funny that I had therapy yesterday. The therapist is like, you need to focus on the feelings of love and wholeness and, self-worth. And the doctor's like, you need to believe. And I know that I need to have faith, because it's the only thing that I can have. I'm not a super spiritual person because of my logical brain and how I was raised, but there is definitely a spiritual part of me in the last few years that has woken up, as most of us have, because of the time that we live in, and spirituality has kind of become, for lack of a better word, trendy. But anyway, I was listening to this podcast and he's talking about, you know, the ultimate intelligence is nature and love. It gives me goosebumps. And it's, for me, like, that makes such logical sense. I'm such a logical person that believing in like a God or a greater power or something is a little bit hard to grasp, but I can believe in humanity or nature, and I can believe that, you know, nature is our best sort of intelligence. And if we look at nature, and this is what he was saying, is, you know, like, nature is the biggest intelligence, and we need to kind of look at nature and how we should live our lives with more love. And all of this has such funny timing because, and I know it's so true though, you know, when you start and you go down a rabbit hole, or you look at something and then you fall down that rabbit hole, and like everything in your life tends to then kind of be centered around that, which is what's happening to me at the moment. And everything is kind of coming back to just kindness, compassion, love, you know, feeling whole, being appreciative, and having self-worth, and feeling like I am worthy of pregnancy, but also a family, and becoming a mum. And I don't know if I said this in my last video, but I have felt like pregnancy was also almost a separate goal to the family, because pregnancy has been so hard and hasn't happened. I kind of, it's almost like falling pregnant is a goal in itself, and that goal has the byproduct of the life that I want, which I'm sure plenty of people can relate to. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with everything right now. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm just feeling really excited and hopeful and full of just hope and faith and love and kindness and also boundaries. So I definitely have to put some more boundaries into place around talking about this, because obviously at the moment, like, I'm really only talking to myself and potentially anyone who wants to listen. But I get to do it in a really safe environment, whereas out in the public, it's really hard because, you know, like, I don't want to keep talking about it in a way. Like, I'm happy to talk. I love talking about it because this is what's happening in my life right now, and this is how I deal. And this is how I feel better and all of that. But there is an aspect of talking about it too much with people, because right now I don't have any feedback. And to be honest, if you do watch this, I don't really want feedback. Like, I don't, you know, like, I know putting this out there welcomes comments and stuff, and I'm totally fine, like, whatever. But at the end of the day, the boundary for me has to be kind of the less people I talk to about it, the less people, is that what I'm saying? The less people know about it, the less people are going to ask me about it, you know what I mean? So if everyone at the gym knows, then they're all going to be like waiting for me to announce that I'm pregnant, or they might ask if I'm pregnant, or things that could bring it up and maybe I don't want to talk about it. So today I've got this doctor's orders basically to not do too much intense exercise. And I told the coach today, and he was like, yep, no worries. Like, he didn't ask why. I didn't tell him. Then I was training with another girl, and she was like, oh, you're not feeling well, because she must have like overheard the conversation, right? And I was like, oh no, like I'm just doctor's orders to take it easy. And you know, like I kind of feel like, in a way, I'm like, oh, that, you know, I feel like I'm hiding it. And I am such an open and transparent person that that's really hard for me. And I'm almost like, I want to tell them so they understand and they're not questioning it. But it's just, once you start talking about it, then this whole can of worms opens, and it's like, you have to tell them every detail, and then they ask questions, and then they're like, they give advice, and you're like, yep, I've tried that, or, you know, and then you just get this overwhelming, and like, yeah. So in this way, I can talk about it without having someone sitting there going, what about this? And you need to do that. And it's almost like I can have the outlet of talking about it without having the advice thrown back at me, because yeah, I know people mean well and everything, and I'm not, you know, yeah, but it just has to be a boundary that I have at the moment to kind of protect myself, whatever way I can. So I'll wrap that up. Otherwise this video is going to be super long. It's probably already at like half an hour or something. But yeah, another thing ticked off my list as far as trying. So I've done the ovulation testing today. I'll just keep doing that for essentially 4 days. My body also tells me when I'm ovulating as well, so that's going to be a sign. And basically Adam's home, so there'll be lots of baby dancing. Or maybe there won't be as much baby dancing. I don't know. Oh my God, it's just so many things like to think about and to line up and try and make everything perfect. But we shall see. So yeah, pray for me. The other things that, just quickly, the other things that I've heard about that I should try is acupuncture, lymphatic massage, and dry brushing. So I'm gonna try them too. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to get in the next 4 days, but look, I'm going to this Zen thing tonight, and I feel like I'm just in a really good place, and I'm really hopeful and excited. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Bye.